Well, hello once again. This is me, Leonard, broadcasting as usual from HASLINGDEN, north of Manchester in the UK, on Sunday the 28th of August 2011. I want to talk today about Dale Farm in Essex. Many of you will not have heard about this. But Dale Farm is a place where many gypsy families bought and built homes on some greenbelt land. They own their own plots. And from the films I have seen on the BBC, they're very well looked after, and it's a very attractive little community. I think there's about 88 or 90 families, but for 10 years the council have dug its heels in and insisted that they can't stay there, simply because it's greenbelt land. Now, I completely understand our approach to greenbelt land, but we do go over the top with this. We have this crazy kind of idea, or some people do, that if any bit of greenbelt land is used for housing, then we will have nothing to look at but distant vistas of rows and rows of houses. Now, there is so much greenbelt land, you've only got to take a train ride from Manchester to London to see how much of our land isn't used to live on. So I think there's a huge amount of exaggeration about this business of greenbelt land. But what I'm going to come to is this: a country is only as great as its heart, its compassionate heart. And the gypsies have had a sorrowful and sad history. Apparently, since nobody knows the exact story, they originated in parts of India. And why they decided to move west, nobody knows precisely. Maybe because they were one of the Indian castes and they were cast out, if you pardon the pun. But on their way west, particularly in Romania, they were used and abused. In Romania, for a long time, they were treated as slaves in the Middle Ages. And it was nothing, well, later than that, in fact. In fact, later than when we outlawed slavery ourselves. But we've got nothing to boast about when you consider the part we played in shipping and transporting people from Africa to the North and South American continents. We made a lot of money out of it. A lot of people made a lot of ill-gotten gains. And because of their way of life, and because they were, I imagine, relatively polite people, so they didn't like to intrude, and they kept themselves separate, so they tended to live away from the normal towns and villages in which most of the rest of us live. And they also preferred to travel about. They liked the freedom of the open road. I've had that feeling when I've been towing a caravan, that the road is open ahead of you and you don't have to put down roots and all that means, paying taxes and so on, and getting bills through the post and whatever. So they've not been well treated, and I'm not suggesting that they're all angels, far from it, but it's very easy to judge. You remember what the Bible, what Christ said? Judge not, that ye be not judged. Well, during the Second World War, as well as murdering millions of Jews, Hitler's grisly gang and henchmen murdered hundreds of thousands of the Roma people, of gypsies, because they felt they were inferior. Well, I've always found it rather amusing looking at Adolf Hitler, because if ever there was a figure who had no right to stand up and point the finger at other people and say that they were beneath him and racially inferior, you only had to look at the guy, and I gather he stank to high heaven because he suffered from the most appalling BO. And how such a creature could have the audacity to decide to exterminate millions of people like that because he felt he was so superior, I don't know. It beggars belief. So I'd like to let this message go, if you like, to the people in authority. It's very easy to stand on ceremony and say, oh, you've broken the law, but think what will happen if these 88 or 90 families are evicted. Will anybody be happier? Will anybody benefit from it? Far from, on the contrary. All these families will have to start all over again, and they may move somewhere where it's more difficult for them to live, and the children's schooling will be upset. For heaven's sake, surely to God, somebody driving along a motorway at 100 miles an hour on a mobile phone deserves to be punished, but not families living peacefully, quietly away from the beaten track somewhere. Surely to heavens, we can have compassion on other people. They've had a hard time of it. Can't we just say, we understand your need not to put down roots? We find it complicated. Surely there are huge areas in Europe, areas, all right, remote areas, where these people can have free rein if they like. Surely we can find enough space for a couple of more million people to live the way they wish to live. This is the mark of a great civilization, and I believe Europe has that possibility. Let's not look back like Lot's wife. That's it for today. God bless while it's still legal here in the UK to say God bless. Take care. Bye.